Would you believe me if I told you this breakfast has 60 grams of protein in it? We've got eggs, we got cottage cheese, we've got Greek yogurt with some spirulina. I'm going to take you through exactly how I make this and give you some tips and tricks along the way. If you don't know me, my name is Coach Samantha. I help busy professional women lose body fat, build muscle, and do so in a way that is sustainable and not going to make you lose your freaking mind without all the BS. We're using a stainless steel pan. We'll use olive oil. We've got our eggs, cottage cheese, a little bit of veggies, some tea that I'll be drinking, leftover banana, and don't look at that, spices, and we'll have some Greek yogurt with some spirulina. So I'm going to take you through exactly how I do this, and let's go. Okay, I'm going to do my best to make sure you can see what's going on, but get your food scale. This is how I like to measure out the oil. What am I going to do? I'm going to tar it. And I like to use the lid because why do we want to dirty another dish if we don't have to? Wow. So now it's at 0 grams, right? And then when we put stuff in here, it's going to tell us how many grams are in here. Usually it's 5 to 7 grams, depending on the pour. And we're doing a little bit of an egg scramble. Okay, so 7 grams. So now we know we have 7 grams of oil. That's a really easy way to make sure that you are accurate, right? So, okay. Oil is over here. Okay, so we are going to then make sure the oil is all spread out. And I admit, maybe it is a little bit of a lie. Maybe it's not quite 15 minutes because it does take, or 10 minutes. It takes like 15 minutes for the pan to heat. So, okay, whoops. Don't look at my butt. So when we are doing the scrambled eggs, like, of course, there is the probably more efficient way, which would be to, okay, there's a little bit of eggshell in there. We're gonna get a little crunch. Get the minerals. Also, I like to save my shells because I have some plants, and so I'll put it in a blender with like leftover coffee grinds, and I like to just utilize the minerals, utilize as much as the egg as I possibly can. So anyway, okay, these are from Trader Joe's. They're the grade A white eggs, and let me be for real, typically the white eggs don't sit super well with me, but that was literally all they had, and we had to get eggs and go. So here we are. So we'll see what happens. But rinse the hands, rinse the hands, rinse the hands. So we're breaking up the egg yolk. First things first, and now we're just going to scramble. Oh, probably the most efficient scrambling method is not this method. It's actually just like putting them into a bowl first and scrambling them into the bowl. I'm turning down the heat just a little bit because this is actually cooking quite fast, which I guess is a good thing. So whenever you're cooking your eggs, for me, I am not in a calorie deficit, right? I am trying to put on mass, put on muscle, and I'm okay with gaining just a little bit of body fat along the way. So for me, currently, I am eating in about a 200 calorie surplus. My maintenance calories are right around 2,000, so I'm eating like 2180 is technically what I'm doing, but like 2,200 calories. This is like already cooked. Wow. So if you're in a calorie deficit, though, it is in your best interest to not do whole eggs, but to do maybe 1 or 2 whole eggs and the rest egg whites to save on your fats and calories overall. Okay, well, this cooked like way faster than I thought that it would. Cool. Okay, so then what's next? We are taking our bowl, putting it on the scale, tarring it out so that the bowl is zeroed out. We're gonna take our cottage cheese. This is like the most ooey gooey, delectable, delicious, let me get in the drawer, substance, texture, whatever, ever. So it's 113 grams. I believe this is the last serving in here. Okay, we're a little over. Little under. This is why we use the scale, because I can't eyeball this to save my life. So 114, we're 1 over. Nobody's gonna die. It's gonna be just fine. So cottage cheese. We're gonna take the eggs. Oh, sweet mama, that cooked so fast. Okay, Usually I like to do a little bit of turmeric in there. It helps with anti-inflammatory, and it is activated by the black pepper. It's the curcumin that's inside of the, what am I trying to say? Turmeric. So make sure you're utilizing black pepper as well. And this is Celtic sea salt. My dad got me this. Apparently there's some good benefits to Celtic sea salt, but let me just tell you right now, I'm not qualified to really speak on that. So thank you, Dad. We lost a little bit of egg. That's okay. We're going to mix her up. Oh my gosh! The cheese! Hold on.
Why are we still here?
Stop playing with me. This is what makes it so freaking yummy. So our cheese here, usually I don't love using shredded cheese because it has a little bit of additives or whatever, like to make sure it sticks together. 28 grams. So here's what I like to do. I'm just gonna go in, grab a fistful, raw dog it. Where we at? Where we at? Okay, that's 23. And so what it's telling me is the negative, right? So since this is zeroed out, it says negative 28. And so what that's doing is essentially it's telling me, okay, now there's 28 grams missing. So that's how I know without having to like use an additional bowl or whatever. We're going to make sure this is all mixed up. And actually, this is my second time making this. But yesterday when I had these, usually I don't have any issues with eggs. But remember, I was vegan for 5 years, so I just get cheese in my hair. Anyway, yesterday I started having like that weird allergic reaction type intolerance feeling to this. So maybe overcooking these eggs a little bit is going to work out just fine. So the cheese is all kind of melted in here. It'll continue to melt as it continues to heat, but I don't want these to cook anymore. And we are just going to put the bad boy together into the bowl. And we're just going to scoop it out, scoop it out, scoop it out. Okay, get in there. Now, we're going to fill this with water, just a little bit. And we're going to put it back on the burner, but we're going to make sure the burner is off. And this is going to help get any of the stuffies off. I'm not going to leave this in here because it is plastic. And I don't want it to melt, as I imagine most wouldn't. So, here we are. What's next? Okay, so typically, because this takes like 4 minutes to cook, usually I will do the Greek yogurt as this is happening, but we will just kind of go. Oh, duh, by the way, with this, I gotta get the sriracha. Mama loves a little bit of sriracha, slash a lot of it. Stuff like this, 0 calories. It's a great way to add flavor without having to add too many calories. Usually I will have this prepped ahead of time, but I used it all yesterday. So my second prep will happen today, and I just kind of go in and bunch it up. Like you don't need to be chopping everything. It doesn't need to be that dramatic. And I am not really weighing and measuring this because for me, the veggies, I'm just trying to get as much as I possibly can. But looking at the scale, looks like we put right about, what, 30 grams of this in here? And so just a quick lesson here too. While you are trying to figure out how much of foods you should have, please remember that a nutrition facts label is not specific to how much you should have. A nutrition facts label is simply, serving size at least, what they believe most people will typically have. So this is not the end all be all. Do what works for you. And so 85 grams of this is 25 calories. We did about 40 grams, so about 10 to 15 calories. So if you're in a deficit, measure that thing. I am not, so we're balling. Okay, I also have onion, and I've pre-cut this. Woo! Oh, baby, the eyes are watering. I'm just going to put it in. This, I don't ever track. I don't make my clients track this either. It's a freaking onion. And most of the time, it's more of a pain in the A than anything else. So don't feel like you got to do all that. You know, just you do you. Okay, let's move on. So here's what our eggs situation is looking like. Eggs, spinach, cheese, cottage cheese, and I think you can see how like deliciously creamy this is all looking. Right? Okay, we need a bowl. Get in my armpit for a second. I'm gonna hope you enjoyed that. Okay, once again, bowl on the thing, tarring it out so it's zeroed out. I know this is 170 grams per serving, and this is non-fat Greek yogurt. There are so many benefits to having full-fat Greek yogurt because we need fats as women for our hormones to function properly. But what I have noticed is actually the non-fat version has a little bit more protein in it, and because there's no fat, you get a lot less calories. So this is please do not sleep on Greek yogurt. I'm so serious. 100 calories, 17 grams of protein. So typically we want 10% of, let me back up, the 10% rule, right? However many calories, 10% of that is what we should have in protein. So ideally, if this is the 10% rule, we have 100 calories, so we would want 10 grams of protein. This has 17. And you get 170 grams, so it's like a good fat serving, which is awesome. This was something I tried yesterday, and I actually really enjoyed it. So I am putting some spirulina into this yogurt, and this spirulina is from Amazing Nutrition. I got this from bodybuilding.com a while back when I was still an affiliate with them. There's no beef. They're just currently not doing their program anymore. But this is so, so good. Okay, honestly, let's just be real. I really only use this because I love the way it makes my skin look, because spirulina is essentially an algae. And there's a lot of those vitamin minerals that will, I just feel like you get the nice dewy look, it glows. But let's read, right? Blue-green algae is most commonly recognized as a superfood, which I don't believe in superfood, right? Everything has vitamins and minerals. This is not going to change your life if you're still eating like BS, right? Anyway, blah, 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 blah. Organ and bodily function with all the asterisks because it hasn't been approved by the FDA. Not approved, but it hasn't been like verified. You know what I mean? By the way, supplements do not have to be regulated like the FDA. Like you can create one of these things, call it spirulina, and like send her off, and like it doesn't have to be approved by the FDA. So just keep in mind that all the claims on the back will always have asterisks because it hasn't been approved by the FDA, unless it has. So anyway, so here we go. We've got actively promotes cell regeneration, rich in vitamin A, which is vital to support eye health, which is true. Gamma-linoleic acid in spirulina makes it one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory agents in nature. So we've got anti-inflammatory from our curcumin in the turmeric, and we've got it here. Especially for me, because I'm still kind of new to the animal products. The more the merrier, right? Anyway, digestive system helps to detox naturally. Your liver does that. You don't need a detox. It just does that. Unless you have shit liver. Maybe you probably should. So as the spirulina, it's like this green. Can we see? Let me check. Nope. Okay. It's this green like powder. And as it goes in, it makes this like beautiful green color. I personally would recommend using this instead of any food coloring, literally ever. Mix it up. Mix it all together, and man is the best of both worlds. Okay, we're in here. And now here's the dealio. Like that specific spirulina, you can taste the algae. This is the first one I've ever had that you can taste it tasting like algae. And so I am going to combat the algae taste with maple syrup because I am trying to get more calories. If you are not trying to get more calories, I would use a sweetener like agave. This has 5 calories in a serving. Or you could do something like stevia, or I don't really recommend Splenda because sucralose, like I just think is disgusting. And also, I don't know. The more natural, the better, in my opinion. So this is like a Whole Foods type thing. So here we go, though. The thing about this to keep in mind is it's pure maple syrup. It is not like a pancake syrup. please read your labels, because so many times I've seen like pancake syrup on a thing and there's no maple syrup involved. It's just high fructose corn syrup. So make sure the ingredient actually says maple syrup on there. But it is 100 calories for 30 milliliters, which is pretty high cal. And there's 24 grams of sugar, which we want like 30 in a day, right? So the thing about this though is because it's natural, real maple syrup, it is so sweet that you do not need the full serving, which again, you do not need what the serving size says. You get to make up your own serving size, right? Okay, so 30 milliliters is our cap, but I'll do like 10 because I really do not even need that much. And I just want it to coat the flavor of the spirulina just a little bit. That was 13. So we went a little bit over. But you can see like that was really not a whole lot. And when you're making pancakes and stuff and you're drenching your pancakes in syrup, that's probably why we need to lose body fat, right? Because there's just, it's a lot of calories and a lot of sugar that you realize. Okay. Also in here, again, usually I have all this stuff prepped and pre-chopped. Here's what I want to show you in regards to walnuts. I love walnuts. They're so essential for brain health. But 28 grams of these is 180 calories. I'm going to show you how much that actually is. Okay, so one of these, okay, well, hold on. Okay, that's 6. That's 11. 16. 25. 20. 28. Okay, so when you are just getting a handful of nuts or having a little bit of a snack throughout the day, this is almost 200 calories. Are you understanding? Okay, if we're in a deficit, we need to make sure, and we're just, we're gonna do this the old-fashioned way. Nutcracker, hello. Yeah, so make sure you're reading the labels. Make sure you're understanding that when you're taking a handful of food, I will do that 30,000 times. I hate the way things feel on my hands. But if you're taking a handful of food like a snack throughout the day, you need to be smart about it because that's a lot of calories, babe. Okay, so we've got the nuts in here. I do not recommend this for my calorie deficit girlies, but me and my mans do this. Unsweetened coconut flakes in here is so freaking good. Unless you're like really needing some additional fats, this is 110 calories for 15 grams, which I'll show you is that much. That's 110 calories. I am trying to grow. I'm trying to surplus. So the more the merrier. Now, I will admit, this right here, when we're talking about our 60 grams of protein overall, this is probably a little bit more fat than you'd want. You'd probably want a little bit more carbs in here. Did I say this was the greatest breakfast of all time? No, but I said it was quick. This is a life hack as well because you don't need to wash them and they will last forever. Literally frozen fruit is a life hack. And there's been some talk about like, oh, don't get frozen fruit, frozen vegetables because they don't have the same amount of minerals. At the end of the day, if not eating vegetables and eating frozen vegetables is the difference between you like actually getting a vegetable in the day, just get the frozen vegetables for real. And they're such a lifesaver, especially I always have frozen vegetables. So this is 1 cup is 140 grams, which is 70 calories. I do not usually need that much. I just do about half because I don't need like blueberry overload. So we're going to do, what are we doing? 70 grams. And remember, I have tarred this out between each thing. So I'm hitting the zeroing out button. Oh gosh, get in there. Okay, 70 grams. And so somebody asked yesterday, they were like, did Sam I Am make this? Because my yogurt was green and it's because of the spirulina, but delectable. Okay, so we've got that, we've got the eggs. And again, typically, because right now I'm yapping, it is taking me a lot longer than necessary. Usually this takes me legitimately, once the pan is heated up, like 6 minutes to do all this. but I'm trying to explain as we go. What's the last thing? We got the eggs, we got that. Oh, my tea. So my man's got me this Tiesta tea set with a little stainless steel what's it? What is this? Tea thing? So that when I make my tea, I'm not using the tea bags because there's just like microplastics. And it's not something to freak out about, but it is something that I drink a lot of tea. So it just makes sense. What am I doing? Hold on. Never mind. My other cup is dirty. So here we are. So there's a few. These are really cool. I'm not sponsored. This has nothing to do with anything. This is just like me taking you through this because I don't really drink alcohol. I don't really drink soda, but I love some tea. I like coffee too, but I'm really caffeine sensitive. So things that have like slighter caffeine are really good for me. So they have like several different categories. Like this is Eternity. This is a relaxer. You can tell by like the blue versus the purple. This one has a yellow label. It's for like immunity. I just kind of go by what sounds good. So I'm not like a super tea connoisseur. The citrus detox is good. I don't want any caffeine. That one has caffeine in it. I really don't feel like I need it today, and it's almost noon. And if I do that, then we won't sleep tonight. Sweet ginger peach. I want something that is going to have some lemon. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, lemon ginger. Now this one has ginger, turmeric, licorice root, lemon bits, galangal, I don't know what that is, and black pepper. So remember, I talked about the curcumin inside of the turmeric. This one also has turmeric and black pepper combined because you need to make sure the curcumin is activated by the black pepper. And there is like a measuring process to this, but I've done it so many times that I just kind of know now. We're going to fill her about yay high. And then you put the little lid on. And there's a few ways that you can do this. But what's really nice about this is it has a little chain so that when you put it on your cup, it'll stay on the edge. This is like a really short cup, so it doesn't matter quite as much. But I like to make sure that I'm getting the right amount of volume of water first. So I'm just going to pour the water in a little bit. And that's as much water as I want. And then I'm going to come in. Oh, that has never happened to me, but that steam was so hot. Oh my gosh, I feel so personally attacked right now. What the heck? Okay. And now we're just going to dip. And then we're going to, okay, don't freak out. Let her sit there, and that's all she wrote. So we've got our tea. I'll steep that for about 3 to 4 minutes, and then I'll take it out. We've got our eggs, and we've got our yogurt. So all together, y'all, this is a really solid meal. This is like 60 grams of protein, and I will put the full macros at the very end. If you have any questions, please let me know. This might be a new series that I kind of start to do because I'm feeling like recipes, nutrition, this is where you're really struggling and wanting the most help. So ask and you shall receive. Now we have recipes and stuff. So try this out. If you're somebody who really needs to make sure that you're having things in bulk so you can just grab and go, again, this takes less than 10 minutes. But I understand I have no children. So if you need some grab and go stuff, another great option, I mean, you really could put all this together and just make it and then put it in the fridge and then just scoop out your individual serving. With eggs, you could also do like a hard-boiled egg situation and just like kind of egg salad it. Yeah, so there's a few things you can do. Now, here's the thing though. I'm feeling like, again, this is not like the greatest breakfast of all time, but it is a lot of protein and I'm coming back from a workout. I do think that there is a lack of carbohydrates in this breakfast and a lack of fiber. Those are things that could be improved by adding sweet potatoes to the eggs, which is what I will probably do next week. But all in all, pretty good. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you guys later.